Hey, all right. So we are live and we're streaming right now into Clubhouse, into LinkedIn, into YouTube, as well as Facebook. So you guys are able to join me anywhere you choose. And right now we're going to be, sharing the Grant Cardone's 10X Commandments of Marketing. I'll tell you, this is one of my favorite topics when it comes to Cardone and his training. I love his training. I'm a licensee, which is actually why I'm doing this and why I can do this. And I have the okay to do this. So I'm going to share this with you. I'm going to go through the 10 commandments. And then at the end, what I'll do is I'll open it up for questions. If anybody's interested in joining me on the actual live stream, again, I'm live here. You can click the link up top and go to my YouTube channel and you can actually follow along live. So I want to start quick though with a story. You know, it was about 20 years ago now. My then daughter, Jacqueline, 10 years old at that time, came home one day and said, you know what, Dad, you should get your real estate license. And Sue's mom makes a lot of money selling real estate. And I was just like, okay, like that makes no sense at all. And I ignored her. But for whatever reason, I woke up the next morning and it was on my mind to get my real estate license, So, I actually went, thought about it, and I went and I signed up. And, 5 months later, I had my real estate license. And this is going back, like I said, almost 20 years now. November's going to be 20 years. And, thinking back, it was probably the best piece of advice I'd ever gotten. And I remember when I got my real estate license, I got all these calls from the different brokerages. And there was this one guy that called me. His name was Steve Clements. And he said, do you want to learn how to make money right out of the gate with your license? I said, of course I do. He said, great. Then I want you to be at my office and I want you to meet me there on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. And he said, I want you to bring, a highlighter like the one I'm holding up. And I want you to bring some index cards. And he said, I want you to go out and I want you to get every single real estate section from the local newspaper. So I went out and got the Herald, the Globe, the Telegram, the Metro West News, all the ones I could find. And I grabbed those real estate sections and I showed up at his office on Sunday morning. As soon as I got there, it was me and there were two other agents, and he moved us and ushered us into the large conference room. And the first thing he did was he had us pull out those real estate sections and we highlighted all the for sale by owner ads. Like that's how I learned how to find for sale by owners. He then had us cut out the ads with the scissors that we brought, and he had them tape it to the top corner of the index card. And honestly, that back then was our clunky system to find and track for sale by owner leads. Anyway, then he handed us a script and told us to read it over about 5 times. And then we practiced for about 15 minutes. He said, okay, we're going to get on the phones. So we pulled out the phones and we started calling these for sale by owners on the index cards. I remember my first call, I was like super nervous, and they answered and I was just like super tentative, like, yeah, hi, this is David Hill. And before I could even finish saying my name, they were just like, yeah, we're all set, hung up on me. I was like, all right. So I jumped to the next call now, right? I started my script again. I'm like, yeah, hi, this is David Hill with Keller. And hey, buddies, we're good. They said, if we need a realtor, we'll give you a call back. Have a good day. Click. I was like, all right. So then on my third call now, right, I call again and I use the script. And this time I got a little further into the conversation, but the seller did end up saying in the end, hey, we're not interested. We're polite. They were polite. They had like a friend in the business or something, and ended up hanging up. And Steve's like, you're doing fine. Keep it up. So then on the fourth call, I went a little bit off script now because I actually had some experience. I never called homeowners, but I did some business to business calling. So I had said, hey, my name's David Hill. I'm a realtor. Would you be open-minded to using a realtor to sell your house? And the person paused and said, maybe. And I was just like, I didn't even know what to say. I started stuttering. Steve grabbed the phone out of my hand and we closed for our first listing appointment. And, it's kind of funny now to think about it, but Steve back then, he told me what to say. He told us all what to say if they say yes or no, but we never knew what to say if they said maybe. But anyway, I was really grateful for Steve. But the reality is we went on that listing appointment and Steve did all the talking and did not even get the listing. And, I I stayed on his team for about 4 months. I experienced a lot of, frustration, rejection, disappointment. And I finally said to myself, there's got to be a better way of doing this. And, and 20 years later, after tens of thousands of calls and $250,000 spent on myself in training and thousands, tens of thousands of hours in the trenches, successfully listing over 1,000 homes, sold over 1,100 homes. I took Steve's process from an antiquated index card system to an automated system that delivers every single day the best information into my inbox, from a stuttering cold call to a non-scripted, clear way of asking great questions and handling objections, and from rejection and disappointment, trying to get a listing, to a simple process that literally I can pick up the phone, I can post some stuff on social media, I can reach out to people through direct messaging, and find myself a listing and somebody that I can communicate with pretty much anytime I choose. And here's the thing. I know, for Steve back in the day, there wasn't as much social media, but I never learned social media. Nobody, no, and the only thing I knew for so long in my real estate business was cold calling, sales, like just straight out cold calling. And it was a grind, but I did it. And I ended up selling 120 houses a year doing it. And I just grinded. But I'll tell you what, it was a grind, and I started to burn out. And then I got myself involved in marketing years later. And I wish somebody would have taught me marketing earlier on. But you know what? The reality is that doesn't matter, because they say the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, and the next best time is today. And that's what we're talking about today. So, I understand most people have a better system than antiquated index cards, but I promise you, there's a better system, and there's certainly, a better way to do your marketing. And that's what I'm going to share with you in the next 20 minutes or so. I'm going to go through Grant's 10X marketing commandments. I'm going to go through each one. I'm going to share my screen with you now. And trust me, if I can pick this up, then you can as well. So let me just share my screen here, and we're going to start right here. And this is from the Marketing Execution Workshop, which I am a licensee, so I'm able to present. And this is just a short presentation on the 10X commandments. All right. So let me jump right to this. And here's the thing you want to know is the good news for all of us is our competition isn't very good at this either. So don't worry about what your competition's doing right now. Focus on what you can do. All right. So 10X commandments of marketing. So number one is money follows attention. Number one, money follows attention. So I want you to think about Grant. I mean, Grant's the perfect example of this, right? Grant has so much attention that he has so many opportunities in front of him, and he's got so many things going on because everybody knows who he is, right? He's become a billionaire because he's been able to create so much attention for himself. And here's the cool thing about Grant is a lot of people, see him and what he does on like social media, or what he does on Clubhouse, and what he does. A lot of people don't realize that Grant's a showman. He does that intentionally. But if you met Grant, like I did at his office and spent some time with him, he's actually really chill. He's a really good guy, but he's a showman, and that's what he does. He gets attention. I want you to think about the Kardashians. I mean, that's another perfect example of somebody who their family has become billionaires by attention, by social media attention. I don't know what else they did. I didn't personally even know who they were before the show. My wife used to watch. I never watched it, but my wife was watching it sometimes. And I'm just like, what are these people doing? Like, I had no idea, but they got so much attention. Look what it did for them. I mean, it's just amazing. So it's a perfect example of how when you get enough eyeballs on you, man, anything is possible. So money follows attention is number one. Number two, one of my favorites, best known always beats best. Best known always beats best. There's this place up in Newport, Rhode Island. It's called the Chandler Restaurant, and they have a burger called the Kobe beef burger. And my wife and I, we got married at Castle Hill right down the street from there. Well, we wanted to go check out this burger, and I'll tell you, it was unbelievable. Like, this place is just nice. And the burger at the time, I think it was like $35 for a Kobe beef burger. And I'll tell you, it was flipping worth it. It was that good. Okay. And it was just amazing, right? It was a wonderful burger, $35. As a matter of fact, my understanding was they were actually listed in GQ magazine as one of the top burgers in the United States at the time. Now here's the interesting thing about this. Right now, I think we've got 42 people sitting in the room here on Clubhouse. We've had 157 come through, and I've asked this question so many times. Has anybody ever heard of the Chandler restaurant? Well, actually, I'm sorry. One time, somebody from Newport knew the Chandler restaurant, and they were like, yes. Every time I ask that question, people are like, no, I've never heard of it. But it sounds really nice. I'd like to try that burger. Let me ask you this, though. Have you ever heard of McDonald's? Yeah, McDonald's. Why? It's exactly the reason I just said, because best known always beats best. Now, listen, there's no way McDonald's burger is gonna, if they were side by side, it's not. I mean, it's not. It's like night and day. It's like trying to eat a McDonald's burger would be like compared to like I don't know, road pizza or something, compared to the Kobe beef burger. But the reality is McDonald's decimates them because everybody knows McDonald's. The perfect example of best known always beats best. You ask about hamburgers, everybody knows McDonald's. You ask about the Chandler, nobody knows the Chandler. I went through this in my real estate business as well when we moved our team. We moved our team from Worcester to Westboro. And we were top dogs in Worcester, and we were 8 miles out, just 8 miles out, 8 miles down Route 9. We weren't known as well. And it was crazy. Everybody was doing business with this guy. And I'm not going to say his name. His name's Mike. He was at a company that has a balloon, but I won't say his name. Okay. And everybody did business with him. Everybody. Like, I would call people and they'd be like, yeah, we don't know you. We're going to go with Mike. And here's the interesting thing. Nobody even liked him really. Like, people thought he was arrogant. He didn't return calls. He just wasn't easy to deal with, but yet everybody knew he was the guy in the area, and he sold all the houses. As a matter of fact, he didn't even sell most of them. He just listed them. Other people sold them, but he got the business because everybody knew him. It was just easy. Like, okay, give Mike a call. It was insane. Like, I experienced that myself in my business, and we had to break through, and it took us a little while, but eventually we did. So let me jump to number 3 right now. Is you got to assume nobody sees it. Assume nobody sees it. Man, I don't know if anybody else here is on Grant's email list, but Grant sends out, I don't know, some days I probably get 5, 6 emails a day, maybe more. I don't unsubscribe, obviously. But the reality is, I mean, how many of us are actually reading those emails? How many of those emails don't even get looked at? How many people actually have 5, 10, like my wife has like 15,000 emails in her. Like, I've got like 10. So that tells you how I operate. But we have to assume nobody's seeing it, right? So that's why they're able to do that, right? So sending that, and here's another perfect example. My birthday was May, and a friend of mine, Bob, good friend, we've known each other for years, and my birthday was all over my Facebook page. I must have had 400 people wish me a happy birthday. It was, we had 2 birthday parties, as a matter of fact, this year. I was all over Instagram. I mean, Bob's on all my channels. And then I ran into him and I was like, hey man, what's up? You missed my birthday get together. He's like, oh, it was your birthday? I'm like, how the heck can you not? Like, I was baffled. Like, how could he not know it was my birthday when he's on, he's friends with me on all those channels. But that was the perfect example of, I have to assume nobody sees it. So that's why I have to continue posting. I have to continue sending emails. I have to consistently keep putting out content. I have to assume, because we're busy. Everybody's super busy, right? That's the reality. Everybody's super busy these days and they're not looking at everything, right? So, and here's the other thing, we're going to get to in a minute, but the reality is Grant's not concerned if somebody opts out of one of his emails. And because if you go to his events, and he does it every single time, he will say, hey, hey, everybody, raise your hand if you've opted out of my email list. And it's interesting because probably 20 to 25% of the hands in the room will go up saying, yes, I opted out. And everybody's kind of embarrassed and they got their head down, but they'll raise their hand, and he does it intentionally just to say, listen, these people are still here. So don't take it personal, right? Sometimes people just don't want emails. All right, let me jump to number 4. Attention is the most valuable currency. Attention is the most valuable currency. And here's what Grant says, which I absolutely love. And this is why I invested money to be around these guys and be able to get in the rooms with these guys. And I spent a day today in the sales execution workshop. I'm sorry, the marketing execution workshop with Jared. And it's awesome. But he says it's not who you know, but who knows you. Ooh, think about that. It's not who you know, but who knows you. And Jared today in the workshop gave the perfect example of this. He said a few years back, he had to travel with his son, and they couldn't find his son's passport. And obviously the only way he could do that, he needed to get his passport fixed. So he posted something on social media that he was having this challenge, and somebody back channeled him and helped him get that situation figured out, which would have almost been impossible. Like literally almost during COVID, trying to leave the country, trying to get a passport, and he got it worked out in 3 days because it's perfect. Exactly what I said. It's not who you know, but who knows you. Think about the connection. All right. I'm going to go to number 5 now. Number 5, repeat successful actions. Repeat successful actions. That's it. If something's working, we just consistently do it. This is not complicated, friends. Social media, you put something out there that works. You're like, okay, wow, that post did really well. Okay, well, maybe I want to continue doing that. Seems like people may like that, and then you do all these other things that are getting nothing. You got like 2 engagements, and then you do one that gets like 5,000, and then go back to the ones that get 2. No, you consistently repeat successful actions. Like, that worked, so do it again. Do it again. These guys do events, and the reason they do events, they look at the events. Like if an event went really, really well, then you do it again. Do the same event. It's like it's such an awesome little hack. It's like a pro tip that most people don't even take it. Like it's almost like a no-brainer, like one of those moments. Like, well, hold on, that actually worked well, so I should just do that again, right? But it also comes back to the number 3, though. If you think about the assume nobody sees it, because a lot of times when it comes to social media, like we'll think, well, I already did that, and everybody saw it, and yeah, I'm not gonna post that again because everybody already saw it. But again, I want you to bring back to number 3 is assume nobody sees it, because even if they did see it, it doesn't matter. Like I've taken videos and taken the exact same video and changed the music in the background, or maybe added a slide at the end, and it's just as good as the first one. So I want you to repeat successful actions. Number 6, speed is senior to quality. So let me go through the top 5 first. I'm going to go through numbers 1 through 5, and then I'm going to jump to 6. So number 1, money follows attention. Money follows attention. The more attention you get, the more money you are going to have. It's a perfect example. You got Grant, billionaire, tons of attention. You got the Kardashians, billionaires, tons of attention, right? Best known always beats best. I already shared the story. You've got the Chandler, $35 Kobe beef burger. You got McDonald's. I don't know how much a burger at McDonald's costs, 99 cents, whatever it is. Everybody knows McDonald's. Nobody knows Chandler, right? Decimates. I bet you, McDonald's profitability compared to Chandler is oh my gosh, probably not even in the same planet. Assume nobody sees it. Number 3. Okay. Assume nobody sees it. Man, my own friend Bob didn't even know it was my birthday. I mean, the guy, he put buds on all the social media, man. I have feelings, they were hurt that day, so assume nobody sees it. He didn't even see my own stuff, right? Attention is the most valuable currency, right? Attention. Okay. It's not who knows you. I'm sorry. It's not who you know. It's who knows you. Number 5, repeat successful actions. If something works, do it again. If something works, do it again. If something works, do it again. You see that? Repeat successful actions. If something works, do it again. Just keep doing it. And that's number 6. I'm going to jump to number 6 now. Speed is senior to quality. Speed is senior to quality. So this is where we got to get out of the perfect, everything, the mindset of it has to be perfect. It's got to look good. Oh gosh, you got to polish up that video. I'm going to spend, I remember, and I'm guilty of this, guys. I've spent literally like 2 hours before. Like I don't do it anymore. Now I have a V8 that helps, but I spent 2 hours on a video, like 2 hours. And then I post it out there and it like gets nothing. Like nothing. I'll never, ever get that time back in my life. Right. So just get it out. That's the point here. Get it out. Don't worry about it. Pick up your phone, turn on the camera. Don't worry about being perfect. Don't worry about your hair. Don't worry about your beard, your makeup, whatever. Just get it out there. Okay. Get it out there. Get the content out there. That's what it's all about. Let's get into action. Okay. Get more. The key here is more. Speed is senior to quality. All right. We got perfect. There's a really good book by John Acuff that's called Finish. I had John on my podcast, and one of the things he said that perfect is the enemy of done. Perfect is the enemy of done. So speed is senior to quality. Get it done, get it out there. All right, number 7, marketing is senior to sales, which is what I was talking about when I started earlier. When I was grinding through my business, I mean grinding my first, 7, 8 years before I started doing some marketing, I was just a cold calling machine. I did pretty decent business, but I'll tell you, I was tired, man. I was working a lot of hours. And then I started putting some marketing in front of my business and things got a lot easier for me. People started to know who I was. I was getting less objections when I showed up. So I added marketing in front of my business years ago, and it made such a difference. Marketing is senior to sales. So number 8, you see, we're moving right through this. Frequency comes before greatness. Frequency comes before greatness. One of my friends, I think, popped in here, Armando. We'll invite Armando up. So Armando's a perfect example of this, man. You should have heard Armando about a year ago making phone calls, man. You got to hear the guy now. It's ridiculous how good he is because he kept showing up and practicing and kept showing up and practicing and kept showing up and practicing. He became great because he worked through all the uncomfortability, all the not so great times, right? Think about, here's a perfect example, Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, you know that at 4 years old, his father started him playing golf, swinging every day, swinging the club. Like a lot of people, well, most people probably know that about Tiger Woods. That, like, think about the level he got to because of the frequency. Or what about Michael Phelps? He's another example that we don't talk about a lot. Michael Phelps. Michael used to go to the pool an hour before all the other swimmers every single day. He would stay an hour later every day. You think that adds up? He would swim on Sundays when the other swimmers took the day off. Frequency comes before greatness. And I love listening to Armando too when he makes calls now, because it's so amazing to listen to it. If you went back and listened to it a year ago, you'd be like, holy cow. Like, people say to me, like, well, David, how come you're so freaking good on the phones? Like, and I'm not saying that to brag. I've been 39 years on the phones. I mean, I'm not 39, coming up on 38 years. So I don't want to fudge the numbers. Coming up on 38 years on the phones. Okay. Like, people are like, well, dude, man, like, wow, you're really good. Of course I'm good on the phones, man. I got so many hours. Like, people don't realize when I got my real estate license 20 years ago, I role played. Here's something interesting. I role played for 15 minutes a day, Monday through Friday, for 14 years straight. Think about that. 14 years straight. I role played 15 minutes a day, Monday through Friday, practicing. And it was just part of my morning routine. It had nothing else, just part of my routine, right? Frequency comes before greatness. So when people say, wow, you're great, Armando's so good. Yeah, because we practice. All right, number 9. And I'm going to open it up in a few for questions for you guys too. Don't worry about it. I'm going to make sure that I give you guys some time to ask some questions at the end. So number 9 is, this is one of my favorites too. Another one of my favorites. No one thing can kill a deal. No one thing's going to kill a deal. Like, oh gosh, if I send one more email, that person's going to opt out and never do business with me again. Or if I ask one more time on the closing, right? Like, oh gosh, I don't want to. Ask because if I don't want to offend them or get them upset, so you just say okay, and then you leave, and then they go and they hire someone else, or they never return your phone call, right? Because you're scared to ask one more time because you think one thing's going to kill the deal. Here's the little the truth for you. All right, you ready? I hope this is don't take this the wrong way, but here's the reality. They weren't going to go with you anyway. So the fact that you asked one more time is not the reason they didn't go with you. If anything, asking one more time may have helped because they'd be like, wow, at least the person's persistent, right? Like, don't you this is one of my favorites because I see it all the time because I work with salespeople. We're so worried about asking there's no one thing kills the deal. No one more email, no asking one more time. No saying one more, right? No more showing up one more time on somebody's social media feed. It's not killing the deal. Okay. People are either going to work with you or they're not. Right. I get a story with a guy's hired me from Denver. I had a call with them and they're looking for sales training. Okay. And I had a call with the two guys and they were both kind of analytical guys, right? I'm not super analytical, if you could probably imagine. Anyway, I spent like 45 minutes with them. And at the end, I was like, "Oh, you guys ready?" They're like, "Oh, we got to think about it." And so I asked a few times, and they weren't committing to anything. So anyway, I said I'll follow up with you. So as soon as I hung up the phone, I sent my regular my text videos, just like, "Hey, it was great, meeting with you guys. I'll look forward to hearing back from you. If you have any questions, blah blah blah. I'll talk to you tomorrow." I got nothing. It was a ghost, like zip, like ghost, right? Like they ghosted me. So I've been doing this long enough to know if somebody doesn't respond to a text when you leave the meeting, it means they're not interested. Okay. Trust me. If you don't believe me, try it out. So anyway, I called the next day. No answer. I get the voicemail. Okay. They're ignoring me. Get the voicemail. Nothing. Right. Next day, send an email. Okay. No response back to the email. Send another email, send a text message. This went on for 6 days straight, right? So day number 6, I leave a message in the morning. The guy calls me back, one of the partners. He's like, dude, wow, dude. He's like, my God. He goes, you're aggressive. He's like, I would never do that. He goes, I would never do that in my business. I'm like, well, hey man, well, maybe that's why you reached out to me. Maybe that would be what would make the difference in your business, right? And he was like, he goes, maybe you're right. Because the reason they reached out to me is because they were leaving things on the table. They weren't asking, he was like, we're going on all these appointments. We're going on these appointments and the people aren't hiring us and they're not returning our calls. So I said, well, maybe I understand you don't do it, right? I get it. That's clear. But maybe that's something that you should implement into your business. Okay. And anyway, I swear it was weird. Like I think maybe he called me back. He was going to hire me anyway, but he just wanted to start off being a ball buster. Right. But he got it. And he's like, yeah. And they hired me. Okay. They hired me. So isn't that cool? Like no one thing can blow a deal. And here's the other thing I think. They may have been testing me. It may have been a test, right? You want to see how aggressive I was. But the cool thing, he's like, I would never do that. I would never, ever do that. Well, hey, I get it. So tell me about your results. All right. So no one thing kills the deal. And then here's the final one. Here's the final one. Number 10, be omnipresent. Be omnipresent. What does that mean? Be everywhere, right? If you do these numbers 1 through 9, you're going to be omnipresent, right? You're going to start to be omnipresent. If you focus on these 10X commandments, right? Money follows attention. Best known always beats best. Assume nobody sees it. Attention is the most valuable currency. Repeat successful actions. Repeat successful actions. Speed is senior to quality. Just get it out there. Don't worry about it. Stop being perfect. Stop trying to have the perfect frigging thing. People it's like, I don't want to see any. Like I see women, like I'm happily married, but some of the women I see on Instagram and I've met them in real life. It is not even close to the same person. It's insane what you guys can do, what people can do with filters and stuff these days. Anyway, speed is senior to quality. Marketing is senior to sales. Okay. Marketing is senior sales. Let's get some marketing out there in front of what we're doing. Okay. If you're in sales, let's get some marketing in front of that. Frequency comes before greatness. Practice. We got to practice. We got to put in the time. We got to time on task over time. That's something I learned that back in my Keller days. TOTOT, time on task over time. Got to put in the time. No one thing can blow a deal. I always say no one thing can kill a deal, but it says no one thing can blow a deal. That's what Grant says. Love that. It's one of my favorites. It's kind of funny because the guys that almost that grinded me down for 6 days that did hire me ended up saying, one of the biggest takeaways we got from you is no one thing can blow a deal. It's kind of ironic that he said that. Good guys, both really, really good guys, great guys. Just analytical guys. That's all. Sometimes we're so analytical, we're our own worst enemy. Okay, so we're talking about number 10. No, is be omnipresent. When you do all this, you can become omnipresent. Remember, we worked this condo association, 45 units in the condo association, and we started by I had a client. This was when I was selling more real estate. I had a client and his son was going to be starting at UMass. He's from out of the area. He wanted to buy a condo cash. So there's only a couple communities up there. So what he did is I went and I did a ringless voice drop to all the condos. There were about 130 of them total. We did a ringless voice drop. And out of that drop, like 5 or 6 people called me back, and it didn't really lead to anything at the time. But then the other thing we sent a letter. Okay, so we sent a letter to everybody. And then we set them up with a postcard. And Dean Jackson has a really cool postcard, and it goes out every single month. And what it does is it makes you the neighborhood expert. So at the same time, did the ringless drop. I sent a letter. We started sending postcards every single month. We did that for about 6 months. I called every month. Okay, and everybody whose email address we got their email address, and we were sending them emails like updates, neighborhood reports, information on our neighborhood. And here's the other thing we did. We took that whole list. We took that list of people and we added it to a Facebook custom audience. And we ran Facebook ads. And here's the one thing so many people said. They were like, man, like in make a long story short, at the end of the 6 months, we had listed 4 units in the building. Okay, 4 units out of this one building that only had 44 units in it. Well, I'm sorry, we listed 3 and then helped somebody else buy a property. So we ended up with 4 transactions and that's a perfect example of omnipresent, because we were showing up on his mailbox, we were showing up on his email. Okay, we were showing up on his Facebook, on his Instagram. We were showing up postcards everywhere. We're calling, leaving voice messages. Be omnipresent. So those are your 10. Let me zip through them real quick again. Money follows attention. Best known always beats best. Assume nobody sees it. Attention is the most valuable currency. Repeat. Successful action. Speed is senior to quality. Marketing is senior to sales. And then frequency comes before greatness. No one thing can blow a deal. One of my favorites. And then be omnipresent. Be everywhere. And I don't think there's a better example of that, to be honest with you, than Grant. So what I'm going to do is in a few minutes, I'm going to open it up to some questions. But one of the questions I get a lot myself is like, David, hey, how can, I want to get better at this. Like, how do I get better at this? And that's a really, really good question. And what we have is I have a community. Right now. It's about 70 people and it's growing, and we get together 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And we do it on Zoom, and we break down sales, prospecting, and marketing, and how together we're able to use both of those together to go out there and find listings and find motivated people. So we have a great community. If you guys want to learn more about our community and join us, I made it ridiculously affordable. It's only $99 a month. You can go to davidhill.club. And if you're into real estate, that's a real estate based community. If you're interested, if you have a real estate license and you're interested in that, it's the best $99 a month you could possibly spend in the real estate space. And then if you're not in a real estate space and you want to talk to me about some of the other stuff I have going on, certainly send me a message. You can message me email me, david@pathtomastery.net. I'm happy to talk to you and see how I can serve you in your journey going forward with your sales. Because that's what we do. We help salespeople connect with people, handle objections, close more deals, and ultimately make more money pretty much right out of the gate if you follow our system. So I want to make sure that's that that's available to you. And I do want to open it up. Like I said, there's also a slide here so you can see right now, $99 a month. You go to davidhill.club. And I also offer a 30-day money back guarantee, meaning if you join our club and you show up for 30 days and at the end of 30 days say, David, that was not worth my money, I will refund your first $99 and we go our separate ways. I've never had anybody take me up on it that shows up because they get the results. So anyway, that's our club. I'm just excited. Now, here's what I want to say, and then I'm gonna open it up for questions. All right. So, in 2017, I had joined a group of top producing real estate agents, and we were going to go on a 1 year together. It was a $2,500 a month investment, and together we're all going to go on a 1 year journey of personal development, and it was amazing. And I remember at the first 3-day event, we met out in Burlington, Vermont. It's an amazing area. At the first 3-day event, everybody was challenged to select a health track. So the options for the health track were yoga, which, sounded pretty wimpy to me at the time, right? Interval training, which was not bad. I was in pretty good shape. Or Ironman race, which was an immediate hell no. I mean, I didn't even own a bike. I never ran more than a 5K in my life. And I hardly knew how to swim. So the interval was the easy choice. But over the next few days, everybody got pressure from the host to step it up to the next level. And I was content with my decision to stick with the interval. But, there was a part of me that just knew, you know what, you can do more. So on the last night, I agreed to step it up and do the Ironman race, and I felt really good about my decision to do that race until that last night in that pool. Until I'm sorry, not the last night in the pool, until I made it to the Ellington YMCA pool and I swam one lap. That's it. 125-meter lap across that pool. And then I panicked. And I thought, holy cow, what have I got myself into? I just did one lap. I drank nasty chlorine water and I can't even breathe. So in my head, I did the numbers and I said, holy cow, in order for me to do this race, I'd have to swim back and forth 78 times. I just did one. I can't breathe. I'm drinking pool water. I said, this is impossible. I thought this is impossible. And I panicked. I called my wife and I said, hon, this is impossible. I need to get out of it. And she's always super supportive. She's like, yeah, David, you can do anything you want. And I was just like, yeah, whatever. Hon. I didn't believe her. I said, all right, whatever. I love you. Bye. Click. And then my next call was to the host, Adam. And I'm not even going to repeat what he said because I can't hear it. But the end message I got from him was hire a swim coach. And I said, they have swim coaches? And he's like, yeah. Click. Hung up on me. So anyway, I had no idea. So I went to the YMCA front counter. I talked to them and they said, yeah, we got a guy named Joel. So they gave me Joel's number. I talked to Joel later that day and Joel agreed to meet me a few days later at the pool. And then he told me his fee was $80 an hour, which I was like, $80 an hour, that sounds kind of steep. I don't know about that. But anyway, I almost bailed, but I agreed to meet him. So during the next couple of days, I did, practice some swimming. I got a little help from the lifeguard, but he wasn't really able to give me his attention. So, but I managed to start being able to get down to the pool and halfway back before I was dying. So anyway, Joel showed up that day and he watched me swim back and forth. And then he gave me some tips on my stroke and some other things and how to position my body. And then he watched me, he watched me a few times go back and he walked along the side next to me. And he said, okay, great. He said, so what I want you to do is I want you to practice this new stroke I gave you and these new tips I gave you for about another 30 minutes. And then I want you to meet me here tomorrow morning. And I almost said no, because I'm like, well, I can kind of figure this out myself, but I agreed. So the next morning, he showed up and he said, okay, I want you to swim down with a new stroke and swim back. So I said, okay, great. So I swam down and I made it to the other end and I was getting tired and I turned around and I swam, and I was swimming back, and then I was almost, to like, halfway back, and I was getting super tired, and I was starting to, and I went to go and grab the end, and Joel said, "Go back." And I was like, "What?" He said, "Go back." And I says, "Now?" He said, "Yeah, now, go back." And I was like, "Okay." So I turn around now and I start swimming back. Now I'm going on my third lap. So I start swimming back down. I'm pulling my body, and I'm like, "Oh my God, this is tough." But I'm doing it, and I'm dragging myself through the water. And for you swimmers, like somebody like me that didn't really know how to swim that well, I was like dragging my body. So there's all this drag, which makes it worse. But anyway, I'm dragging myself through the water, and I'm breathing heavy, and now I'm starting to drink water again. And I'm like, and I'm trying to and I'm just about to grab the other side of the pool. And he says, "Go back." I was like, "What?" He said, "Go back." I said, "I can't." He said, "Go back now." And he yelled. And I turned around and I started pulling myself back to the other end of the pool. And I did. And I was dragging, I was breathing heavy, and I was out of breath. And I for a minute, there were moments I thought I was going to drown, but I just kept pulling myself, and I made it back, and I made it. And once I get into the end where it was shallow, I knew I was safe, and I made it back. And when I got to the other end of the pool, I was like, "Oh my God, I made it." It was amazing. I just did 4 laps. Just 4 days ago, I'd done 1 lap, and I thought I was going to die, and I was ready to quit. And I said, "It's impossible. There's no way I'm going to be able to do this race." And here I am now. 4 days later, I just did 4 laps. But here's the real interesting thing about this whole thing that I thought about later. I'm willing to bet that I could have done those 4 laps the first day in the pool, but there was no one there to push me that day. There's no one there to push me. I promise you I could have done them, but nobody was there to push me and move me beyond what I thought was I thought it was impossible. So, I truly believe that Joel is the reason that I finished and completed that Ironman race. Because if it wasn't for Joel, I would have quit. Absolutely 100% would have quit, and I would have never even made it to the race. And then 16 weeks later, I worked with Joel for 4 months in the pool, and then I hired a triathlon coach. And then 9 months later, I completed that race. I completed Lake Placid, the 70.3 Ironman, and I did the swim, and I came out of the pool a happy man. But you know what? It all started right there in that pool with Joel. And the reason I'm sharing this story is because I know, some people like hear stuff and then they say, "Well, I'll figure it out for free," or, or I'll go and I'll find someone on Clubhouse to help me, or I'll go hire I'll go to YouTube, or I'll figure. And yeah, I mean, you could certainly do that. But here's what I'm telling you. I needed someone like Joel that knew what he was doing, that was pushing me. And that's ultimately what we can do for you. So I want to make sure you understand my communities there, as well as all the stuff I do with training. And we do the sales execution workshop, which is coming up. So reach out to me if I can help you. It's easy. If you're a realtor, it's easy. Just jump in there. I'll put this slide back up. You can join our membership. That's easy. You can pay $99 a month, or if you want to pay the whole year up front, like a lot of people do. It's only $1,000 investment. It covers you for the whole year. That's easy. But if you want to learn more about our workshops and the sales execution workshops and the other things we're doing, like what I talked about today with marketing and things like that, and a marketing execution workshop, reach out. Happy to have a conversation with you. So with that, I just want to say thank you for your time, and there's a link right here that's schedule.pathtomastery.net. If anybody's interested in training, coaching, or how I can help you, how I can serve you, use that link. We can schedule a 15-minute call. We'll jump on a 15-minute call and see if there's an alignment. Trust me, I don't want to work with anybody that's not a good fit for me. And I'm sure if you're listening to this, you don't want to work with anybody that's not a good fit for you. So it's a win-win, so I'm happy to jump on a call and understand what your goals are. So that said, appreciate you guys being here, and I'm going to open it up for a few minutes for questions. I was like perfect timing. And I want to see if anybody on either Clubhouse or it looks like we got a few people here as well on YouTube have any questions. You can post in the chat on YouTube, or if you have questions on Clubhouse. I see Armando's flashing. So what's up, Armando? How are you, man?
Howdy, yeah, it's Armando, real estate agent in Houston, Texas. And yeah, thanks for all the kind words and you said about me. And I took another listing not even an hour ago, and I'm with Claudia, and we're gonna tag team because the seller needs to buy. So but yeah, I mean, it's been an amazing journey since we met working with you. And yeah, a year ago I couldn't talk my way out of a paper bag, and now I'm walking into sellers' homes and listing properties left and right. So it's definitely you've helped me exponentially.
Well,
I can't, yeah.
Well, I just want to say, I mean, I want to give you the credit too, though, because there's the 10x commandment that we talked about, right? And it's frequency comes before greatness. And that's why I brought you up there, because you just consistently kept showing up, right? How many other people quit? Like, I lost track of how many people quit in the time. You know what I mean? And then here's the interesting thing is, if you still go in some of those rooms on Clubhouse, and we've been doing those. We did those rooms I did with Aaron for almost 2, but close to 18 months, right? And if you listen to some of the people that show up, like some of the people have not even really improved that much. But then if you listen to you, it's like night and day. So you put in the work, man. So congratulations. But you also had good guidance, right? You had good instruction. And I think that's important too. So I think it's both. You need somebody that's willing to put in the work, but you also need to be, somebody helping you go in the right direction. So congratulations, man.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I definitely needed that direction. And I'm one of those, I've got to do it, 100 times, then 100 times more. And I'll make a dent, and then finally, I'll get it. So yeah, I just got to practice, show up. And I knew I was going to make it. It was, just the pain and the suffering and just the headache and the frustration. But, I was like, look, it's
yeah, man.
This is where I got to go to get to the next level. So,
well, good job, my friend. You did it. And yes, amen. That's what it's all about. So congratulations on that, and good work, and just keep moving forward now, right? That's it. Does anybody else have a question? Certainly feel free. If you have one, you can post in the chat if you like, or if you're here on Clubhouse, I've got a few more minutes. I'm happy to answer any questions. I don't see any in the chat, but I do see thank you, and you're welcome. Appreciate that. All right. Anybody else before we wrap it up? I'll give you one more chance. You can raise your hands. And if not, then I'm just going to wrap it up. By the way, this will be launched on YouTube. It was recorded on YouTube and Facebook, so it's a live stream. And I'm excited. I'm going to probably put it out in the world on my podcast. So Armando, we're just going to continue making you famous, man. Armando from Houston, Texas. So appreciate you, brother. And unless we get a final thought, I just want to remind everybody one more time, you can get information on my real estate community, which is by far the strongest real estate community there is on the planet. Honestly, it should be $1,000 a month. Right now, it's only $100 a month. The price is going up soon, and you can get in there for 30 days. Try it out. If you're not happy, we refund you $99. You can't even lose. It's like you can't lose. So if you have a real estate license, take advantage of that. Just make sure you go to davidhill.club, and then we'll see you in the community. So that said, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you guys hanging out. And I hope you found the 10X commandments helpful. And before I do wrap, I want to at least make sure I say the 10X commandments one last time. So let me go back to the slide and put up the slide and share them with you one last time. Number 1 is money follows attention. Critical. Money follows attention. Get the attention, and the money's going to follow it, and you're going to get the money. Okay. Number 2, best known always beats best. McDonald's beats the Chandler restaurant. That's my example, right? McDonald's might have more money. Is just way more profitable, way bigger business. Okay. Burgers are not even close though. Chandler's Burger is phenomenal, but McDonald's business model destroys it. Assume nobody sees it. My buddy Bob, man, didn't even know it was my birthday. I mean, it's brutal. Attention is the most valuable currency. It's not who knows you. I'm sorry, it's not who you know. I keep saying that one wrong. It's not who you know, it's who knows you. Number 5, repeat successful actions. If something's working, keep doing it. If something works, keep doing it. Number 6, speed is quality. Speed is senior to quality. Speed is quality, but speed is senior to quality. So let's get it out there. Let's keep doing it. Let's not worry about being perfect. All right. Perfect is the enemy of done. Marketing is senior to sales. Guys, we got to learn to put marketing in front of our sales. That's something that I had to learn myself the hard way. And we did, and it made all the difference in my business. Frequency comes before greatness. You know, sharing stories. Armando, perfect example of that. If you go back, maybe listen to some old replays of Armando a year ago, you listen to him now, you're going to see a perfect example of that. Tiger Woods, Michael Phelps, perfect examples of that. No one thing can blow a deal. Next time you're sitting in front of somebody and they're like, we need to think about it. And you're like, oh man, I don't know. Just ask the question. Just throw an objection handler out there. Ask him again. Okay. The deal's not blown anyway. All right. I mean, if no matter what, if they got to think about it, the odds are they're probably not going to do it with you anyway. So by asking one more time, you're losing nothing at all. You're the worst case scenario, you're in the exact same place. So remember that next time you're sitting in front of somebody and you're considering getting up and walking away without the contract. No one thing's going to kill the deal. So ask again. And then number 10, be omnipresent. Listen, I want you to be everywhere. Show up everywhere. Go all in. Go all in with this. And when you go all in with this, you're going to start seeing the results. So appreciate you guys. Again, join us if you're interested. Community, again, right here, davidhill.club. Or if you want something else, you want to talk to me about one-on-one coaching, you want to talk about some of the workshops we're doing, then you can jump on schedule.pathtomastery.net. Thanks for your time.